Okay, Joravar, let me ask you a simple question. In spite of all references to Hensang visit and all the influence of Buddhism, I was reading one of the opinion poll in China said only 24% of Chinese have favorable view of India. What could be factors of this?
See, so the domestic Chinese conversation is obviously state-led and a state-shaped discourse through a controlled media. So that shouldn't surprise us that there could be different periods where the Chinese public opinion can keep changing. But it's a sign that obviously the Chinese state itself is taking a sort of a you could say an assertive stance. Can I also sort of react to some of the others? Yeah. So I think we've established on this panel more or less that China is a challenge, and I think maybe we can now move the conversation debate on the types of strategies that India should be trying to think about and conceptualize. So let's look at a balance of power strategy. I think it was raised India can be a swing bar. You leverage global politics. China has done it before in the Cold War. India did it in the Cold War after the 1970s. Now, can we implement such a balance of power strategy? I think we need to be, again, a little more careful in actually introspecting and assessing where it works and where it doesn't work. So I look at the United States and India as having common interests, but as we move closer into South Asia, the arena where Chinese power is most profoundly affecting India's core interests, what is the United States' position or ability to deflect Chinese power in this area? I want a clear-cut answer from policymakers and scholars on this issue. I see more ironically and paradoxically Sino-US convergence on Pakistan, on parts of the subcontinent, and yes, there may be some there convergences in the maritime sphere. So I think it's a little complicated to or easy or lazy to suggest that you just swing and you're going to get a change in Chinese behavior. Because what is balance of power strategy after all? To shape the calculus of the other side. Now let's look at the last 10, 15 years. We've engaged the United States intensively for the right reasons, and we need to. Has it reshaped Chinese calculus against India? If anything, it's hardened its position in certain areas. So I would say you have to pursue a more complex, multi-dimensional foreign policy. You have to have relationship with all the great powers. The United States, of course, is the most central actor in the Pacific. It has to be a strategic partner. Japan has to be a strategic partner. Russia plays an important role in Eurasia. But you cannot get around to the fact of engaging frontally with China. You have to find ways to solve, address, contain, manage your bilateral problems with China. You can't wish them away. So within a balance of power strategy where you are in a situation where your partners have highly interdependent linkages with China. I don't even need to give you the numbers. You're talking of hundreds of $billions of trade and investment between the United States and China, Japan and China, and most of the other East Asian neighbors. Now, we cannot expect in a complicated interdependent environment to get those actors to side with India on India's core interests so easily. It's not going to happen. Similarly, India is not going to side with their core interests. Like I can't see India going into the East China Sea and sort of picking a fight with the Chinese for the Japanese. I don't see the Japanese doing it in the Himalayas. So you are in a situation which is different from the Cold War, where you had such a sort of, you could say, detached, isolated blocks competing with each other, and you could side with one and balance the other. You can't do that today. So you have to have a more complex foreign policy. I think most analysts accept this in parts, but I think we need to frontally accept it now. We can't lean against the Chinese and side with another power hoping that all our problems will go away. It's not going to work. We need a complex foreign policy, and the sooner we realize it, the better it will be for our own role in Asia and South Asia. Thank you.